right, so there we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, Ryan, welcome back. Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. Obviously, a lot going on in the village. We've talked a couple of times in the last year. You finally let the cat out of the bag with Ollie's coming to Rothschild. Obviously, it's a big get for the area. One of the first ones in the region, the second one in the state. Even though you were supposed to be first, we'll not hold that against Kenosha right now. But they did get theirs open before you. But tell us how this project's going and why people should be excited about it.
Yeah, the project is going along well. The state inspectors actually were here yesterday. I was able to meet with them. Everything is going along smoothly. The transition inside, I know on the outside individuals may not see a lot of change currently, but the inside has had quite the overhaul next to the VA building there. It's coming along super well. We're still hoping for a fall of 2024 already opening. We're still on track for that. And again, the biggest thing here is, there's going to be a lot of name brand items that are going to be at a discounted rate. So we're excited. We are expecting a heavy usage for this area, and we think it's a great way to showcase the entire central Wisconsin region to get this type of a store here.
And after you announced this, I kind of went and did some research, talked to some people. There are similar stores like this that I've heard of in areas of South Dakota that will draw people in from hours away. They'll go there right away on Saturday to try and bargain hunt, or if they happen to know that something is going to be in stock, they'll drive a couple of hours to come pick that item up and be right there in line. Like you said, showcasing the area and bringing people in is something that's a real possibility with a store like this.
Yes, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Really what Ollie's does is they attract different brands that, again, the household names that people want or at least are desiring for. And you're right, that changeover in inventory happens weekly. So it's not something where you're going to go in one month and you're going to go in the next and expect the same items. It's going to be continuously changing in things that individuals want, and I think you're absolutely correct. People are going to maybe drive a little ways to save that that extra dollar per se for that item, and that's what we're excited for.
Mm-hmm. And I know this is part of kind of a grander plan for that area as well. You mentioned the VA already. That's been open for a couple of years now. That's predates you, but you've got room for more space there, more kind of a strip mall setup, restaurants, things like that. Do you have anything else to say about what's going on in that area yet, or anything else you might want to? Any hints you can drop about what we can expect? Sure.
Yeah, it is the plan by the end of 2025. That current building that would be, foundation, I'm going to call it, just north of where the Clean Slate coffee shop is. Again, that's going to be completely revamped. You're going to see a building be erected there. And you will likely see food and maybe a mixture of a retail portion there. And again, that whole exterior of that building, along with where the VA and Harbor Freight is currently, again, that's going to all have a kind of a facelift. And what I mean by that is it's going to kind of look like more of a modern, rustic approach, kind of like a Starbucks almost, but it's going to go along a good portion of that whole building.
Yeah, and revamping it and the village right there, because I think we've talked about before, it's right there off the highway. That's your first impression. That's your welcome mat right there. So having something that's attractive for visitors and for residents is very important.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of our Highway 29 focal point, I'm going to call it, for the village of Rothschild, and we're fortunate enough to, again, on the north end of Highway 29, extend over with the village, and so we're very, very grateful that we have both, I-39, 51, and 29 kind of all coming together here. So we're hoping that this area picks up some traction. I know in recent years, the aesthetic portion of it is something that we really want to hit home on. And I know I have an excellent village board who's backing it, and the developers certainly agree that this is an area that has that average daily traffic count that kind of desires or showcases that this area really needs to be revitalized because of the amount of usage it gets.
Yeah, and another intersection that gets a lot of usage is the Schofield Avenue, Alderson Street area. near DC Everest Senior High. I know that you've been working on this. This has been a big project between yourself and the Village of Weston, and you do have some updates on that as well, because we're obviously getting to the start of the school year. DC Everest had their first football game last week, and that's an area that can be a real pinch point at times, and then all of a sudden we have no traffic for hours, right?
Right. Yeah, so again, roundabout going in at Weston Avenue and Alderson, and the north-south function along Alderson and where it meets with the Weston Avenue. Yes, we are hoping we're still on track to have that portion open for the school year. So we know that that's just a week and a half, 2 weeks right around the corner here. It's coming quick. But again, they have made tremendous headway. The contractors have been wonderful. So we're really hoping that still is open. However, the portion from Alderson going east towards the Marshfield Clinic or Birch Street in the Village of Weston, that is still going to be under construction. And again, that's going to have that not only the road portion, but there's going to be a walking path as well. So that's kind of a bigger plan for an interconnecting between the Village of Weston and the Village of Rothschild to really work together and showcase how that more outdoor recreation can be enhanced.
Yeah, and obviously having the roundabout at least partially open is going to be huge, because as I mentioned, the traffic area can go from a lot of traffic really quick to no traffic to a lot of traffic. There's real cycles there, so you want to keep things moving through that area as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So residents, what can they expect then as far as a completion on this project? Are you still on track for later this year, or is this kind of opening in phases here?
Well, it's gonna kind of open in phases. Phase one is gonna be kind of that north-south area of the roundabout, and mainly to accommodate with the school district. That was our biggest plan earlier in 2024 here, working with the school district, the bus lines, making sure that we don't want to impede, both the Village of Weston and the Village of Rothschild do not want to impede with the traffic that the DC Everest High School attracts. So that's our main goal, and it has been obviously safety and traffic and working through that. So again, yes, we're on track to open that up, the north-south. And the phase portion, that going all the way to Birch, from Alderson to Birch, that would be kind of I'm going to call it the second phase along with the trail. And yes, we're still aiming for that late October, early November of 2024 for that to be open.
And just like with any construction project, it's going to be so much nicer when it is done. You just have to put up with the one summer of headaches to get there, right?
Correct. We, I'm sure individuals have driven by, or at least been able to walk kind of by what's happened so far, and it looks tremendously different already, and it's great.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that you said you wanted to touch on here today, the PFAS situation with the drinking water treatment plant. This is something that's maybe not running ahead of schedule, but you're right on track with this, and this is another big project for residents.
Yes, absolutely. Essentially, the PFAS plant that the Village of Rothschild is adding on to its current water treatment facility off of West Grand Avenue here. Yes, on track. We've had some of the tree removal companies. We've done some preliminary meetings with them already. And again, some sizable trees will be coming out of there. However, I think the biggest thing that I want to note is the Village of Rothschild, along with the engineering firm, the village board, kind of a teamwork approach to say, hey, we're only going to take down the ones that are necessary for the plant itself. By no means are we going to be doing like a clear cut. It's mainly just for where this additional PFAS water treatment plant is actually going to be going. And yes, I'd say, here in August through September, you're going to see some of these trees. Again, they're going to be sizable trees that will be coming down. However, I think kind of the light at the end of the tunnel really is by the end of 2025, we're expecting this plant to be in operation. So what that means for the users, the Village of Rothschild water users, is a PFAS filtration system essentially that is going to be monitoring it at 4 parts per trillion or essentially less, meaning non-detectable. And again, we've been hovering, originally when I would say a couple of years ago, the Village of Rothschild was hovering around those low 20s in parts per trillion. Now we're hovering around that 14-ish mark parts per trillion as we tried to, kind of do some early filtration. And with this new plant, yes, it's going to be at 4 parts per trillion or less. and we're really aiming for that zero or non-traceable or non-detectable.
And really, what these setups have been about not only is about removing the PFAS and the public health situation around that, but you're also trying to set yourself up for the future, because we don't know what other contaminants might be lurking or may develop, even 5-10 years down the road. And you want to be ready for that too, right?
Yeah, it's a great point. And you kind of, again, you definitely are having that foresight, just like our village board has, and our public works department and water utility here with the village. That plant that we're currently in the process of starting, we are building it so that in the event that we have to keep adding on for different, maybe it's phosphorus, maybe it's chlorides, things of that sort, we are kind of building that plant with the foresight, thinking, okay, depending upon what regulations come from the EPA or the DNR or both in the future, yes, that we could accommodate it and make sure that the village of Rothschild residents and whomever else wants to join the water system has that safe drinking water.
Yeah, and again, it should be noted to residents, water, everything is safe right now. There's nothing to be concerned about. You can still drink it, cook with it as you would normally. But of course, residents always free to get their zero water filters and pitchers and things like that, or set up the whole house system as well if they are overly concerned, right?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. Again, I couldn't emulate it more. Again, the water right now, you're absolutely correct. It's perfectly fine to drink. We are well below what the EP threshold is currently. I know there's other communities that have much higher levels of parts per trillion in their water, and they too are working through this process to get it to be a safe amount for human consumption, to meet the regulations from the EPA and the DNR. But yes, right now that there's no issues per se with our water by any means. Yes, an individual could certainly add a filtration system if they so choose, but again, the water that is going out right now, it is nothing to be concerned with.
Absolutely. One more thing before we let you go. I know you're still going through the process of merging the police departments between Weston and Schofield, the Everest Metro, into now what is the Mountain Bay Metro Police Department. From the Village of Rothschild's perspective, how has this been going? Because I've seen the squad cars out and about. I can't say I've had any interactions with them, but I've certainly seen them. The cars look sharp, and it seems like, at least from my end, somebody who doesn't live in Weston, Schofield, Rothschild, nothing's really changed, and that's kind of what you promised from the start with this merger earlier this year.
Yeah, again, nothing has really changed. The transition has went well. We're very appreciative of the leadership, both in the police department, along with the administration at the Village of Weston. Their village board, village president, everybody has been wonderful. The city of Schofield has been wonderful, and the town of Weston, their board, they have been tremendous. Everybody's been very supportive. I think the best thing that we went into this whole thing is how can we make this work for the residents? How can we make it financially work, but also how can we make it work for a better service? So again, we went into it, off the bat with this merger thinking, right away, what is the most financially reasonable and most appropriate way that we can make this work? Because really, it comes down to the financials of it. And yes, the merger has officially happened. You're seeing the new squad cars, the new branding out there. We have hired on a couple extra police officers now to kind of get up more to that where we should be at. It has went super, super well so far, and we're proud, we're appreciative, and it's been great.
Yeah, because that's what it comes down to. How do you get the best service to the taxpayers, and how do you do that while making sure that you're responsible with their money, right?
Correct, absolutely.
And the department, as you mentioned, was built to kind of grow right now. Has there been any talk right now of possibly a joint department, a new building, or anything like that? Because obviously everybody's here right now, but I'm guessing the merger is happening with that kind of foresight as well, to make sure, hey, we got to make sure that we've got this all in one place and in the right space for the employees to do their work.
Yeah. Right now, again, it's all come together. Working through what that space needs study looks like, and I would think more to follow on what that looks like for the growing department in the coming months. Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Well, we always appreciate the time, Ryan, and we'll look forward to chatting again in the future.
Yes, thank you.